All right, we're live. Okay, cool. Great. Here we are again. So I'm going to be drawing. I'm going to probably be inking tonight, maybe a little bit of drawing because I got a couple panels here to do. Some layouts for this strip. We'll talk a little bit about what this is, but basically, I guess you could call it a submission for for VeeFriends. We'll talk a little bit about it. Allie wants me to work on this strip. So maybe I should just keep it zoomed in tight. Well, no, that's all right. That's okay. We'll just work on it. No.
I think it's funny you always have this inclination to hide it until it's done.
Yeah, I don't want you to see that they're
part of it. No,
they're gonna blast. What?
Nobody wants you to hide it.
All right, they're gonna blast off Cynical Cat into outer space because he's a jerk, right? And then we got the cowboy. This is a good strip too. Are these both strips that you thought of?
Yeah.
Okay, because you were like, "What if his head is the shape of the hat?" And I was like, "Yes." And then he takes his hat off to sleep, and they're like, "I did not see that coming."
I like the face on that. Is that a bison?
Yeah, that's the bison. Yeah. And then there's like a rare dinner deer here.
So back up. What are we doing here?
Oh, okay. Backing up. Okay. Long story short, there was about a week ago now. I think I couldn't sleep, and there was the VeeFriends is a universe that's been created by. I'm gonna start inking this while I'm talking because we got to get going. Universe by Gary Vaynerchuk. If you don't know who Gary Vaynerchuk is, well, I'm sorry. You could Google it. Gary V. And he posted that he was hiring a Sunday comic strip artist. And of course, I just was like, well, I was built to do this. Unfortunately, I was built to be a comic strip artist in a world that doesn't really care about comic strip. Anyways, I was like, I got to do this. So I just started drawing it. There wasn't a whole lot of direction or background from anybody. So I just kind of was like, well, I'm going to put this package together and, see what they think of my ideas. And then Alicia and I just started having some fun and talking about stuff. And so here we are. And now I'm working on probably what you can see a little bit of everything that I've worked on so far. I've got this strip I worked on the stream the other night. So that's kind of what the characters are evolving a little bit as I'm learning to draw them because I had never drawn these characters before. So then we did the Sunday version, which is a bigger like comic tryout for all these characters. There's over like 280 something characters.
I wrote it down earlier. I don't know where I put my thing. I think it's 286.
Right. And they just released a bunch of new ones too, right? I'm not sure if that includes, I don't know if that includes the new Halloween people. I imagine it does, but so I'm going to fade this out.
I feel like the Halloween people were there before Halloween.
Were they?
Yeah. I think Jolly Jacko was at VCon for sure.
Was he?
Maybe, I don't know. Well, reality is a simulation, so in my simulation, he was always there.
Yeah. Yeah, VCon was a lot of fun. So we talked about that earlier. And we were torn if we were going to go or not to LA. But it's so far away, like I'm sure we'll go. But
I don't know, the hotel rooms are insane right now.
The hotels are like how much? $1,000 or something?
Nah, it's like $350, $400 a night right now.
Okay. Yeah.
But maybe I'll get the hookup. You never know.
Yeah, you never know. You never know what'll happen in a year. So yeah, these are fun characters, and I was not in a state of delirium being sick, but I was up, saw that tweet, and I was like, hold on a second. Because, I've been following Gary V for ever. Like, I think even before his first book came out. Or at least maybe.
We've been together for 10 years. And really early on, I remember you getting his book for the whole Spreadshirt Greensburg team.
Right. which they didn't even really appreciate it.
No, I think you either get it or you don't. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think, like, awesome people, but I don't think they wanted to grow in that way.
Was that was that Ask Gary V? I think it was. Let's see if that was 2013, right? I don't know what published 2014. 2014. This was 2016. Was it 2016 that I got the book for everybody?
I think so, but you had been talking about Gary for a long time at that point.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you either get it or don't, or like it's maybe misconstrued. Maybe people confuse it, but with like, I don't know.
They're
like,
not growth-minded people. I think
right.
you kind of need to be.
Yeah, it's rare for me to come across someone that's like driven like I am. So in a different way. Like I'm driven in a different way. You know, so
Let's talk real quick about this comment. Guest 311 says they feel like they've failed at the Promptober challenge.
Oh.
They've gotten behind and overwhelmed with daily tasks and keep getting further behind. We talked a little bit about this Sunday.
Yeah, I talked about this on the Sunday stream a little bit. Magical, he's on here too. Mentioned about, well, don't feel bad because I'm behind on my own freaking drawing challenge. So I think the trick to it is to just draw small and don't like overthink it. And also, you know, it's not like you have to get all of them done. That's a lot. 31 is a lot of things to draw. So maybe just, you know, pick the ones you like look at that list, that prompt list, and be like, oh, I want to draw that. But don't stress about it. It's supposed to be fun.
I think failing would be not having fun. Like if it's not fun,
right?
That's if you don't put that much pressure on yourself because that is it's not good for you. And then you could, not that you want to Mexico wants to do them all. Of course you do. They're really cool. But I think I forget who I was messaging back and forth with on the Discord, and they said that they're using AI to kind of generate some layouts. And I know we had a guy that did that last year too.
Mm.
And having that concept to work from was helpful rather than working from the blank page.
Yeah. I just like I wish I could show you. I'm not going to stop what I'm doing now, but just drawing small, you know, like that little tiny. When I say drawing small, I mean like little tiny doodles, like super tiny, like the size of a quarter, and then blowing it up a little bit. You know, after you've kind of concepted it out a little bit, it just makes it like fun for me. But I'm behind. You know, I'm behind in the main prompts. I've been drawing we have the daily drawing club too. And that has a special extra 31 days of prompts. And I've been drawing those. So, and those are pretty, you know, after I got sick and all, I was like a little bit, you know, low energy, but I still drew them and they came out pretty good. I'm pretty happy with the, okay, so I'm going to draw an anti-symbol on his shirt, but I'm going to keep it black. It's red, but I'm going to black it in right now. We can overlay that later when I'm coloring it. It's just easier to do it that way. Right. And I think he has, I'll look at the coloring later, but he's got like I'm starting to learn a lot about how these different shapes of the characters are made. So there's like probably 3 or 4 unique shapes that all the characters have. So they either have like a round head or kind of like a dome, like a Hershey's Kisses head. Start to learn a little bit about it. I don't think that's going to be a font. I kind of want to hand write this. This one, like this idea will never work. So Cynical Cat is, you know, obviously I just heard Gary on a live stream the other day say that he hates Cynical Cat. So, you know, bad timing for me, I guess. But
No, that's how we wrote the strip.
Right. Yeah, that's what's funny about it is like maybe he's like a heel. Like, you have to have some characters that are um, you have to play off of. So he's always very cynical and skeptic and maybe a little negative, which doesn't really work in that, most of the messaging is like be positive and stuff like that. So, maybe they'll turn him around. Maybe they'll turn Cynical Cat around in the future. From cynical to what? Uh,
Complimentary cat.
Complimentary kitty or something. I don't know. Leave it up to Gary to figure that out. But for now, we're just going to blast him into space, and then he'll just keep coming back. It'll be like a Looney Tunes sort of thing, like the Wile E. Coyote. See, just kind of show you. Are you? So Alicia came up with the concept of blasting him into space, and then I came up with this joke about he's go for launch, and he's like, "Launch? I thought you guys said lunch." And then he's like, "Worst lunch ever." Yeah. So 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 cheesy, but you know, it's a funny, it's a comic strip, you know. So
So I guess 311 says they've been drawing every day for over a decade. Thought it
okay.
would be cool to do the daily challenge because they're always drawing anyways. And
Hmm.
it's definitely a challenge.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't sweat it. And then you know, if you're trying to do it within a time frame, well, then that is very challenging. But if you're like, well, I think Magical is still doing the ones from last year. He's catching up, or he was catching up on
28.
last year's stuff. We're just getting around to posting it. But
Are we doing 28 again in February?
I don't know. If we do, we need to figure out our rules and stuff because like everything's changed on social media since last year. Like, explain that, Alicia.
So
Last
last
year,
year, all you had to do in order to kind of show that you did the drawing was hashtag Promptober, and we could sort by most recent, and it was wonderful. And I could just go down the list and kind of move everybody's name onto a spreadsheet. But growth hacking allows people to kind of hitchhike on a hashtag to promote a product for free. And Meta doesn't really love that because they would like for you to spend advertising dollars instead. So they took away the most recent they said because, bad actors were,
right?
spreading, which might happen. That might happen. I think it's more monetary based. But
They
so
want
now
you.
there's no way to sort by most recent. It's only top posts. And that's not really fair if it's only going to show people that get like
Yeah,
a bunch of likes because maybe you're new or maybe you launched a new social channel just for your art and you're rebuilding it. And we would never see it. So that's why the DMing us thing happened this year. But then a couple people tried to DM us and got banned. I don't understand.
I
Or
know.
comment on one of our posts and they got like a 2-day timeout, which is
Yeah.
so bizarre because I mean, we're just really a drawing empowerment support group. But
Wow, that's a yeah.
they got the timeout. So next year, it's probably going to be more focused on the Discord, which I don't love because not everybody is super
The Discord, yeah.
into Discord, but Meta just makes it hard.
Yeah,
Maybe
hopefully Discord doesn't change then.
yeah.
um, yeah, we'll roll with the punches. But right, it's funny because now we have it set that you have to DM us for the special day prizes, and like every time someone tags us or DMs us, it's ding 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 all night long. Like it's crazy. Even with notifications off, it's still making noises somehow.
Well, I don't turn mine off because I'm afraid I'm going to miss someone. So, like,
Okay.
my watch dings every time Meta Business Manager goes off. And
I'm like,
I know the people that generally send us, like, actual messages and, like, want to chat back and forth a little bit. So,
yeah.
try to
It's
get
been,
back to
yeah. We're not complaining either. We don't mind. Just it was like, whoa, that's a lot of people. There's a lot of people drawing this month, so
That's awesome.
it's great. Yeah, it's the whole point of doing it. So, um, yeah. So yeah, I've had comic strips on the brain for a week now, like on fire, like on
Like,
fire.
you wake up every day at 3:30 in the morning and
I
start
can't
drawing
stop.
comics.
Yeah, I'm like, oh my gosh. It's not often that you get a chance to even think about this stuff or like an opportunity to go like, well, at least I can pitch. I can just pitch something and go like, here's my idea. Here's what I can do. I was built to. I was telling someone else that like initially, I think my goal coming out of like high school was probably get a daily strip in the newspapers back in the 90s, early 90s, and then you had to submit to syndicates and put your samples together and get your rejections and all that stuff. And I think editors got to know me from like King Features. Jay Kennedy was really nice. He always sent me like nice letters back in the mail, snail mail, real mail, not like how easy we have it today. You'd have to literally wait. And I remember that feeling when you'd see the letter back from King Features and you're like, this could be it. This could be, I'm going to be, you know, Beetle Bailey or something. You're going to be the next whatever. And it was always a rejection letter. Usually they'd send your samples back too. So it was kind of crude. It's like, we don't even want this. They don't want to throw it away, which is nice. But then, looking back when you're 19 or 20 or whatever, even earlier than that, my art was not ready for that. Was not ready for prime time. Let's say. Switch to my liner. See what I got here.
I'm going to hijack your screen share,
Okay.
I think.
What are you going to share?
I'm going to share
Oh, no.
this.
What are you sharing?
So, you did a strip called Bigfoot and Tea for a
Yeah.
while. For Lanakai Ukulele, right?
Yep.
And I thought it would be fun to talk through this and then a couple other
Are you sharing it? I don't see it.
strip. Am I not?
You're not sharing it. It says show on stream.
There we go.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's a couple of them. I did that for, what, like a year and a half, almost 2 years.
And then you did a book. So did they have the rights, or did you were they not interested in the rights? Like, how did that work?
They were not interested in the rights. That's very interesting about that, because how did that come about? Okay, the guy from Lanakai Ukuleles, and I can't remember his name now, and he's moved on from there, but he found my artwork online, and he was like, hey, have you ever drawn comic strips for a brand? And I'm like, well, yeah. And then, long story short, he's like, would you want to develop something for our mascot there, Lanny? And he just basically, I said, well, what's the deal? And they had no direction. They were just like, I don't know. We just think it'd be cool to have a comic strip about the guy with the ukulele. And I'm like, well, wait, hold on a second. I was like, so I've got this other comic that I did called Your Mama, and Bigfoot and Tiki were like like a fake TV show in it. And so Bigfoot and Tiki were just about a Bigfoot and a Tiki that were roommates. And it was just like hijinks ensue, right? It was just wacky. And so I threw Lonnie in there as like a third roommate, and they loved it. They were just like, let's go. So I forget how much I got paid to do that, but it was pretty well. And they loved it. They put the characters on like their ukulele stands in the guitar centers. So when they were selling Lanakai, I don't know, not many people can see, but I think my Lanakai ukulele's downstairs, but I have some ukuleles behind me. I play ukulele, not well, but I play a lot of punk rock songs on the ukulele. And so yeah, I did that, and since I owned Bigfoot and Tiki, those were my characters, and it was kind of like a collaboration. So they didn't care if I did, my own book collection. So I did that book collection myself, and yeah, they just liked it. They liked having the community build around their the comic strip. They would be able to post it, and they had a mailing list. I think they sent it out to, and it had a little cult following there. Weird, oddly enough.
How did you do your print run of the books?
Is someone asking that?
No.
I went through Amazon KDP. So that's just like print on demand through Amazon. So if you go to Amazon right now and look at Bigfoot and Tiki Show, you can order one of those books. It's in full color. And I think I got one over there somewhere on my shelf. But yeah, it's like the first collection. There's more than that are in that book. It's just that was the first, I don't know, 80 pages or something like that.
Do you have any upfront costs if you print through KDP?
Nope, just your time. So I think the color, you're probably not going to get a lot of profit margin on that. I think the full color KDPs, or what am I saying? KDP? I don't even know what KDP stands
for.
Amazon KDP. It's probably, I'll probably make like $5 a book. But if it's a black and white book, you make, it's like $2.86 to print a big, thick 80-page book that you could sell for $10. And you're not printing ahead of time, so there's no cost. You just pay when it prints.
Mr.
Barry Link does a lot of Amazon KDP. I don't know if I turned him onto it or not, but they started putting their collections on there. But then your stuff's on Amazon. You know what I mean? So that's cool. And then you're looking at, that was a daily adventure strip, part of the in-between of Hero by Night. So I talked Platinum Studios. I got that deal with Platinum Studios, and it was just to do a comic series. And then I was like, well, hey, why don't we do a daily strip? Sound familiar? I'm just like, hey, daily strip. So like we put that up on Drunk Duck, and it was like one of the most read comic strips on Drunk Duck. So it's like the Hero by Night story. Guy finds the pitch of Hero by Night is a young guy finds the hidden layer of a hero from the 1950s. He finds the power ring, and he decides to sell it instead of becoming a hero. He puts it on eBay, and so all the old bad guys show up. That was the Hero by Night concept. And then he has to decide to be a hero. So those strips there show you what happened before, like where they were trying to find the original hero when he disappeared and all this stuff. So there's like a big universe behind that. And I did that for a few years. So that was fun.
And you have Gravity.
And Gravity was our daily comic strip that was in newspapers. And that's kind of a longer story, but we started with, I'll make this story short. We started with the local newspaper Daily Courier in Connellsville. And then from there, I met these people, I think online. I forget the name of the comic strip that they did. But their whole shtick was that they were self-syndicated. And I'm like, well, how do you do that? So I started asking them questions. And they were like, oh, it's real simple. You just we have this list. And they gave me their list of editors from around the country. And I just put together a mailing and mailed that all out. Back when mail was cheap, Alicia. So mail was way cheaper. And I just pitched my thing and say, like, this is how much it costs per week. Would you like to sign up? And then they would, we didn't have an email back then. So I think they would call and then we'd set it up. and that was it. And so I got it into whew, 50 papers, and everybody loved it. And and then as it started to get a little bit of like notoriety or something, or so, I don't know how the syndicate found us, but it was Press Syndicate, which is now defunct. They're not even real anymore. And I thought, oh man, this is cool. We're gonna get a syndicated strip. And then basically the first meeting with them, the contracts came in, and the very first meeting, they wanted our list. They're like, "Can you share your? You have to share your list with us." And I'm like, "Well, wait, why? You're supposed to get us into more papers." And they were like, "Yeah, but we want to show your list, our syndicated columns." Like they had like horoscopes and like witchy, like witchy ladies that would talk about recipes and shit. And I was like, "Well, wait, like, do I get a cut of that? Like, I built this list. I'm the one that nailed all these newspapers." So yeah, but we did that for 6 or 8 months with Press Syndicate before they just kind of just stopped answering the phone. And I think we got paid like once from them. It sucked. Why all these? Yeah. Nobody.
Mr. Incognito DIY wants to know, when you're turning it like that, and I assume they mean the canvas,
Yeah.
are you doing a 90-degree pen or holding it the normal way?
I'm holding it the normal way, and I'm kind of turning it with my fingers. So it's kind of like just it's as if you have paper on a desk and you're turning it just the exact same method. So I'm still like doing the same uh, strokes. Seem a little thick. I'm gonna leave it. The balloons seem a little thick, but I'm just being a little picky right now on myself. So worst lunch ever. Yeah. So at some point, yeah, comic strips. I did the high school newspaper comic strip, and got not didn't get in trouble with that per se, but I would hide things in the strip, like most high school cartoonists do, I think. And sometime after high school, I got into comic books, wanting to do comic books instead, and that kind of became the direction I went into. Even though I still tried to get this comic called House Blend into newspapers, it was about a coffee shop. I thought it was good, but now looking back now, I mean, come on, it was pretty basic. And yeah, webcomics made me change a lot of my opinions about. I just felt like the internet was so I could see it. I had a vision, and I'm like, wait, there's this thing, and you could put your work up online for free, and you can showcase your work, and you don't have to send submissions to a syndicate. They could just come to this website and look at it. And boy, cartoonists hated that. Like the professional cartoonists that were in the papers, they hated that. They thought we were coming for their jobs. And meanwhile, had they would have embraced it a little bit more, you know because now it's like I told someone else, it's when you want to do that for a living, and then you build yourself to do it, and then now you're living in the age of dinosaurs, and it's like, oh man, I made a bad career choice. But yeah.
Well, what if you can pivot? I mean, I think you pivoted pretty well.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. But like I said, like there's that feeling of, wow, it's nice to see somebody else kind of gets it and sees what it could be, maybe. Like that's rare to hear. I probably talked to like 3 or 4 people uh, in my adult life that understand what it could be. like daily comic strips and web comics and stuff like that. But it's a lot of hard work too. People don't want to put the work in. They want shortcuts to everything all the time. And there was just a commenter on one of my YouTube videos about he was like, I want to get these prints done, and I'm like, okay, and he's like, I'm 14. He's 14 years old, and he's like stressing out about doing his own prints through this print site, and I'm like, guy, you're 14 years old, like what, like this, you got time, man, to figure, you don't have to stress about making money with your artwork right now. Jeez. And that's so tiny. It's the one downfall about drawing digital is you could really zoom in and keep, it's going to be so small on the screen, you don't want to put too much detail in the very tiny aspects there. But yeah, I was also just having a conversation where I said, like, I remembered about DC Comics, and years ago they did Zuda, which was like a competition kind of thing where you could, get your comic on Zuda, and then the fans would vote for the comic each week, and at the end, Zuda would win. You'd win a thing. But I was like, well, that's really weird. They didn't let creators work with the icons like Batman or Wonder Woman. They said, like, you got to create your own stuff. You're not allowed to touch the canon, or you're not allowed to touch the main people. So, but in that happening, I was working on Hero by Night at the time, I think, or shortly after, and one of the editors, I won't say his name, he's not there anymore, but invited us up to New York Comic Con for and toured the DC offices. We went in and pitched Action Web Comics, and I think I still have the URL, Action Web Comics or something. But and it was like, let's launch a daily Superman comic strip and a weekly, thing. And it was me and Jason Embry, the same team that was doing Hero by Night. And we had an awesome pitch. And the editor was like, this is great, but they'll never let us do this. And I'm like, who's they? And they were like, the editors in chief of the comic book division. They hated digital comics, e-comics, anything like that. They were like, it's a competition, like it's taking money away from print. They could just not see the forest through the trees, So they were like, this is such a good idea, but and none of those people are there anymore. Even the main guy is not there anymore. Unbelievable. Yeah. Alicia says that I'm usually always one step behind like real big giant success. Right?
That sounds like I'm like dogging you, but
no, I don't take it like that.
Uncanny. Like
uncanny. Yeah.
Like you get invited to a place for a guy to give you a strip or a script, and then he forgets it.
You forgot.
Or like
I drove 6 hours. Yeah. Like, no big deal.
Like you drew a shirt that Kevin Smith wore on Conan.
J Lo.
But whatever.
Yeah.
Or like you worked with a band, but they weren't that big of a band. Or right before they took off, their management company was like, no more DJ.
Yeah. We almost did the augmented reality game.
Yeah.
And almost had a budget until the record label was like, nope. Nope. Oh, long story there, geez. Oh my goodness. Yeah, it's always something. Not many people have vision, Not that I'm like a visionary or anything like that. I'm just saying,
well, one could argue.
Yeah. So it's refreshing to work on something where I feel like people get it. you know, I'm just enjoying it too. I'm like, this has my wheels turning because I'm like I think Alicia said yesterday or on the stream where she's like, it was really weird. But anyways, now I'm drifting. Um,
But we
about
came back from V, not
uh,
not VCon,
Vid Summit.
VidCon,
Vid Summit.
Vid
There's too many
Summit.
V's. There's too many
So
shows that
many.
start with V. Vid Summit. We were back from Vid
But
Summit.
we watched someone's panel and they said like, oh, you have to do like what's in your heart. Like you have to like if you're gonna have a successful channel on YouTube, it has to be
Yeah.
a perfect amalgamation of your dreams. And then we came back and DJ was very sad because he was not drawing any active comic projects, and I think
Yeah.
like the imposter syndrome then creeps in and it's like, what am I doing? Like how do I lead a community of artists when I'm just drawing
Doodles.
doodles? And then this kind of came out of the blue, and maybe it won't be anything, but what we were talking about off the stream was, okay, well, if this doesn't happen, maybe it was just turning on the light of you need to do a strip.
Right.
What does that look like with the day job? What project is it? Like, because you were doing the adventure strip for a while with Secret Forces.
Yeah, and I liked doing that. I just was frustrated with that because it felt like I didn't want all of my readers to be just other comic artists. And that's pretty much what I had. In the comic book world, that's what you got. You got a bunch of people that are like wanting to be comic artists. And I just wanted people that wanted to have some escape and read the comic for fun.
I think even when we were doing the Godchild together,
We had that too.
we did, because the comments would always be like,
I would have done this.
you drew her hand backwards, or
Right.
the fire wouldn't start like that.
Yeah. Or, I would have written it like this. And it's like, thanks.
Yeah, and then it's just me like flipping out in our
Right.
house going like,
Right. It's like, yeah, and there's always going to be that with like fan stuff, but like I'm sure that people would be like, "Hey, man, you're drawing this astronaut's boots wrong." I'll be like, "Hey, I don't really care. I just,
yeah, I don't know. But I really think we talked about your mama and the characters of that project, and that was a little bit negative and a little bit dark, and I think
spicy.
you've grown past that phase.
Yeah.
But like, could those characters grow as well? like could it be your mama but not your mama?
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is I feel like the Draw or Die brand is your mama without the your mama.
Yeah. But
Just
there's no strip. So is
no
it like
strip.
a slice of life encouragement brand for artists in the form of a comic strip?
Could be. I mean, there is. Well, we talked about another thing too, which Daniel Vital was really pushing me to do, was all of my stories that I have about comics and all these things that I've drawn. So I was like, oh, it's like drawing stories. Like it's stories about drawing, right? Like artists would understand that, right? And I was like, oh, I'll just launch a channel called Drawing Stories. And then I'm like, we can't launch two channels, DJ. Like, it's not, you know,
There's only so much time.
doing one YouTube channel was enough. Figuring that out. And I think we're on a good, trajectory. But, so yeah, it's just got my, would anyone read an adventure comic strip? I think they would if it was marketed correctly outside of the comic book world, right? But I don't know if that's the way. Like, I don't think that fulfills me. So,
I mean, you even see comments or posts, or I think it was an email that I got from the Oatmeal that was talking about like how hard it is to get his comic out there, because he would have to pay so much in ad revenue or in advertising because they just won't serve it.
Right. And
But I've never seen him do live video though.
right.
So.
And if I had a daydream about this, like imagine what it could look like, would be it would be a much bigger platform for me, I think, to talk to artists in a different way. Because there's a lot of artists that are afraid to turn a camera on and do what I'm doing right now. Um, and I just want to encourage artists to do this. Live stream your art, work on stuff together. Don't be cutthroat with each other. Like let's really hold each other up, support each other as artists. That's what Draw or Die is about. And I think it would allow me to like maybe encourage another generation of people to make comic strips and say like, look, So like I think DJ yelling into the void is kind of like, it's been that way for 20 years. And you get a voice like Gary Vaynerchuk talking about his own comic. It doesn't matter that it's his comic. It's still a comic, which rises all comic strips. I could totally see the comic strip guys, the guys that have been the guys forever, like looking down on it, like looking down, like, oh, you're not in newspapers, blah, blah, blah. We could easily be in newspapers also, by the way. But but to what end? Like, are we bringing back the newspapers now? Like what? Maybe, I don't know. Like, but there's so many cool ways to do daily strips, whether it's escapism or jokes or, you know, I mean, everybody's reading. Millions and millions of people read Webtoon, right? The Korean site. But then I found out from those kids at the drawing club night, they're like, what, your kid's age? Probably like 14 or 12. They were like, ooh, we don't like Webtoons. And I'm like, really? Why? And they were like, it's too adult.
Yeah, my kids
porn.
won't wear any, like, they both read manga, but they won't wear any manga type shirts or accessories or things like that because they get a lot of crap for it being like porn.
Yeah, that's sad.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what the state of like that's the state of that online comics, like Webtoons, is. And they're kind of tone deaf to it. It's weird. It's just weird. It's totally weird.
I think that the sexy stuff in that form of comics is so egregious that like you can't get around it. Like once you've seen it, like it's kind of like
sure.
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. Your imagination is never wrong, Magical said. Yeah. But yeah, I'd like to and it's crazy, I'm kind of, Alicia will tell you, I'm kind of an all-in person. Like, I'm like, nobody on this planet would say, let's draw a comic strip for 20 years. Nobody would say that. Gary Vaynerchuk would do that. He'd be like, let's do that. And I'd be like, okay, let's do it. I'm 47. I could draw this till I'm in my 70s. Let's go. There's not many people on the planet that would, is it delusional? I don't know. Do I feel like I could actually do it? Yes, because I'm, that's the weird dream that artists like me grew up having. Like, we died our board, Alicia. We died.
I fully expect to walk into the office and find you dead at some point. You keep telling me this. Either that or I have to find a way to stuff you in a volcano if you're ever terminally
Just hoping old. Not now. I don't want to die right now. Let's not do that right now. But if I'm like 80 and you find me dead, like, I'm sorry.
Wow.
I'm sorry in advance.
Thanks. I think I'll probably die before you.
No.
I worry more than you. I don't think.
Oh, this took a dark turn.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Look at that cat. Look at his face.
Yeah, look at this cat. He's horrified. Let's reset the stream.
What are we doing here?
So I'm drawing VeeFriends comics. I do not own these comics. This is like fan art. It's a submission kind of, I guess. There's no submission process really. It's just they're hiring a person to do a cartoon strip for VeeFriends, which is Gary Vaynerchuk joint. And I was like, well, shoot, I could draw that. So I'm just the past week. It's been less than a week now, right?
A week tomorrow.
1 week tomorrow. I started drawing. Never drew these characters before. There's over 280 something characters. It's crazy. It's a lot of characters. So it's a good you know. So tonight I'm inking these strips. That's what I'm doing. And if you have questions, the brushes I'm using are available. They're tagged on this video. If you'd like to buy my Procreate brushes, you could do that if you'd like. I got all these nice. What do I got? In this set, I've got my gouache die, I've got my drawer die brush, my pencil brush, my inker brush, my old school inker. I'm not using that. Old school inker's got like a less crisp tone to it. But you don't have to. There's a lot of awesome brushes inside of Procreate already. I was using that syrup brush, Alicia.
Mm-hmm.
That's nice.
Yeah, I was laughing to myself whenever they asked you about turning, because anytime I try to draw on the iPad and I sit there, I turn the entire iPad. And I can just see you looking at me out of the corner of your eye, like you can just turn the digital canvas.
You know what? When I was messing with Fresco or Fresco, Fresco, I don't know, Adobe Fresco, you can't do that.
Oh,
You can't do this.
do you just turn the
You have
whole
to turn the
tablet?
whole freaking iPad. I don't like that. You
But
know,
it's a vector, so that's kind of.
it's vector and pixel. You can have vector. You can have a layer that's vector and a layer that's pixel.
Well, why
That's
would you
pretty
ever
interesting.
want pixel if you had vector?
Uh, boy, this is some nerd stuff here, but the the brushes from the pixel art sometimes feel more natural, and they have like effects, like blended smears and textures and stuff. So for penciling specifically, the pencil brushes are way better in pixel art. They just feel better. But then if you want a nice smooth ass ink, you want to go with vector lines. Maybe. But I don't really like the vector lines too much because if it smooths too much, then it's not your art. But then on some things like sticker designs or something like that, you tend to like that. You tend to like
Well,
the
I think
smooth.
like just as a whole, that's the kind of art. Like if I could make myself learn to draw, that's what I'd want to draw.
Right.
Like the art I was showing you. I like the art that doesn't have black lines, which
Yeah.
sounds. I don't know if that makes sense or not. I'm sure it's called something. I don't know what it's
No,
called.
you should just go to AI. You should just have AI draw stuff for you.
Well, I could now with that new Dolly plugin.
You don't need me anymore. See, like nobody needs.
If we're the Jar Die Club, can I really sell stickers
Don't do that.
that were designed by AI? I
Burn this
don't think
place
so.
down. Burn this house down. um. Yeah, it's funny. It's funny because I was just saying about how you want to be a comic strip artist and then you grow up and there's no newspapers or whatever, and then you're like, I just want to be a cartoonist, and it's like, well, now this computer can do that. We don't even need you for that, bro. Like, just go away. I'm like, you know what? I don't think a computer can't sit here and draw this live and talk to you yet.
Did you have you used the AI DJ inside of Spotify yet?
Oh no.
Yeah. So it talks to you like like a person. But I think it's really funny because I was so happy a million years ago when satellite radio came out and there were no DJs. Now that has DJs again, but like I don't I don't know who needs that. Like their AI Spotify channel to talk to them every 3 songs.
I don't want that.
Oh,
I
it
just
was
want
it was funny because Henry was in the car and it says DJ, so he thought it was
me.
you.
Yeah, of course. Yes, it's me. Now back to your playlist. Yeah, coming up with some Stooges. Felt like, why are all these songs punk, weird old punk songs, DJ? Because that's what you need to hear, Henry. Um, we only need one DJ. Thank you. What method do you use to back up your Procreate files? Ah, that's a great question. I guess I have some.
Several. He has several.
No, I don't. Like, cause I'm not none. Most of what's on my iPad right now. If my iPad broke, I'd be screwed.
Uh, but see what you'll do is you'll realize one day that you need to back those up and then you'll stick them all somewhere. And
Mm-hmm.
it might be a solid state drive or it might be Dropbox or perhaps it might be
Or
Google Drive.
iCloud.
We need to get better. There are too
Yeah.
many there are too many cloud solutions.
Yes.
Because then
Yeah.
I'll go like, I want to make a thing out of that thing that you drew this one time. Where is it?
And I'm like, I don't know. I'm not good at that. I mean, unless it's like if it's for like a publishing project, that's pretty
Yeah.
tight. If it's something I'm working on for someone,
Well, you always
that's tight.
deprioritize like your personal work. I feel like that's always
Yeah.
find an hour, find a tiny chunk of time, and like gun it out, and then move on.
Right.
Because all the projects that you do for other people are always top.
Yeah. I have. I just. I can. I should. I'm like, I did. I did not. I did not do this, but I have a drive, a little mini drive that can plug into the iPad, and then you can just go whoop right onto it. That's what I need to do because there's literally everything's on this iPad right now, and it's not in a good way. The iPad's fine. I'm just saying, like, if someone stole it or if I broke it, then I would lose a lot, lose a good bit.
I'm surprised you haven't upgraded that one yet. I think you've hung on to that model
This one,
longer than most.
really?
Yeah, because I think that's number 3, but you've had it for a while.
Well, now that you said it, no. I'm probably waiting. You know, I have an uncle that works at Apple, and he's not allowed to tell me anything. But he's if I say like, well, what do you think? He's like, is that one good enough? I'm like, yeah. And then he'll say like, well, maybe you should hold on to it for a while. And I'm always like, that means something's coming from Apple, right?
I feel like there's always something coming from Apple, though.
Well, of course.
Magical was lucky enough or smart enough to set it up that he had all of his stuff backed up, and then his iPad totally died without any warning.
Yeah. Alicia's right. I need to. Sorry, the illusion of that your name is Allie is over. When you're on this stream, it's Alicia sometimes. I'm sorry.
Well, as long as they're not trying to email me, that's fine. So they will not spell it right.
She's right. I just need to set some time on my calendar and be like, it's backup time. It's boring. You know, it's really boring to do it. But I'd appreciate it. And then I'll lose the drive. And then what?
Nah, you never take the drives out of the house.
It's tiny. This one's really small. So, like, the cat could run off with it or something, you know? Like, geez.
Well, you could plug the dongle for the 2 terabyte solid state drive into your iPad.
No, I didn't think about that. That one's pretty full. I don't need to get another one.
They're
Buy a
like
new.
cheap. I saw like 2 terabytes of memory for $79.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, it's just one of the, like I said, like I'm just gonna put some time on the calendar and back it up. I'll do it. We'll get right on that. Yeah, I feel like did I get this iPad during the pandemic?
I don't remember. I
I
just
feel
know
like
it's
it was
been a
like a
while.
treat to myself. Like I'm doing it. I'm gonna upgrade because we were all stuck in the house. So I don't remember, but it's good. It's the M1, I think, chip. It's not the M2, but and then Swit Craft, his son is still using the original iPad that I sold him. That thing's still kicking. So if that's all you're doing is using Procreate, it doesn't take a lot of juice. So that's pretty nice. That's
I
pretty
like
nice.
how his face goes from angry to very concerned.
Like what's going on? Yeah. It's also not clear. Like, well, it's a cartoon. What are you gonna do? Like, how is he strapped to this rocket? Let's not worry about it. He's got these handcuffs here, and his little tail's off to the side. There we go. Yeah, okay, so we'll talk about this. Is like we're gonna blast this cat off into space, and you know who's gonna bring him back? Is the alien.
Oh, there is an alien.
Yep. So like the alien will be like, "Look who I found on the moon," and they'll be like, "Dude, why'd you bring him back here?"
It's the adaptable alien.
The adaptable alien.
Maybe he just can't adapt to living with the cat on the moon.
Oh, he tried to adapt. He wouldn't do it though because he's adaptable.
Well, maybe he like rerouted his course
Hmm.
for the cat.
Hmm. Yeah, he changed his plans. Okay.
He's doing something weird with his hands on the VeeFriends website.
What is it? Show me. Magical. I was wondering how Cynical Cat survives. Have you ever watched Looney Tunes? Like, how the hell? That's weird.
I don't know.
I
What
mean,
is he? Is it? Is he levitating?
he looks like he's breakdancing to
Oh,
me.
okay.
I don't know. Right?
Like this little
Like he's
mouse.
spinning around. Scroll down there. I think he's doing some.
He's
He
hovering.
levitates. Yeah, all the characters levitate. All right. Um,
Hmm.
there should be another little picture at the bottom. Oh, he's in an ice cave up there. Did you see that?
What?
What? Right?
Oh.
What's he doing there?
He's. Is this a shine or a spectacular? Maybe.
I don't know. These are like trading card stuff, guys. If you don't know, like it's like virtual trading cards, and there's a card game and all that stuff. It's hard for me to explain because I'm old. So, oh, I didn't. I got rid of this fin here. I'm not going to draw that. Just wanted it to be like a regular old rocket shape, like a cartoon rocket. The more I thought about it, the more I was thinking Looney Tunes, Acme rocket, sort of situation. Tangent there. I don't like that. For those that don't know what tangent is, it's that this is touching, and I don't like that. We can fix that. We're gonna fix that. Maybe we're gonna fix it. I don't know. don't know if it's fixable. I think I might just have to run with it. Also, I'm trying to figure out, like, because I don't think there's a lot of. I mean, I don't know, because I haven't talked to a lot of people from Vayner, or from VeeFriends, but I'm curious about this world that they're in. Because if when you see on the website, they're like this like friendly world with like smiling mountains, and I'm like, is it another dimension? Like, what is it? Is it like Barbie Land? Right? Like you could go there if you drove far enough. You could get to the VeeFriends. What's May say? Aliens bring back cynical cat because the world gotta be able to live with cynicism. Just part of human nature. True. Every time I hear the word cynicism, I think of Conan O'Brien's last show on television. And his outro was all about this, like, don't be cynical. He was like, don't be cynical in the world. That was like his parting message to everybody. And I was like, I don't know. I was not cynical, but like my humor, he was saying that humor didn't need to be cynical. You know, there's a lot of cynical humor. and yeah.
I feel like I grew up with a lot of cynical humor. Like we like some of the same things. So I think
Yeah.
like the Kevin Smith movies and
Okay.
like some like dark humor type stuff.
Yeah.
And like it was pre-goth. So it wasn't like super mean or super dark or super dour cynicism.
Right.
But like it was the cool thing.
Looks like a
I
bottle.
felt for a long time like that got stuck in my head.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird when you look back at certain things and you're like, ooh, it's either cringy or it's kind of like, oh, this is different. This is different.
Like it's not the same vibe, and I feel like it
Right.
definitely was detrimental to a lot of situations that I had that kind of outlook. I think when you're like that and your friends are like that and like you think you're super cool,
Oh man, yeah.
it's easy to just get stuck there. And then
Yeah.
I don't know, like it's a
Yeah.
trap. It's a trap.
Yeah, and like your friends become this circle. Like I think you become like who you surround yourself with. So like I know I'm not going to talk too much smack on it, but my old best friend was very jaded, very dark humor, and like it wasn't a shtick. It was just because like you think it could be a shtick, like this is just a joke, but then it's like, oh, it's not a joke. I thought this was just a joke, and he's and then it's just like they're not joking. They are that way. They are negative, and like no matter if it's a good thing happening in their life, it's like negative. You got to get those people out of your life in a nice way, as much as possible. Okay, so we got this strip inked in an hour. Not bad. So we got this idea will never work. And then you want to know why? And he's like, not really, just hold still. Cynical cat is go for launch. Launch? I thought you guys said lunch. Nope. I don't know. I just, to the moon. We debated what character this would be. I wanted to just have like a mix of characters. So clever crocodile is there. You know. But now we'll go up to the cowboy strip. Let's just keep inking. Let's do it. Maybe we'll get this whole page inked here. Be great. I have no deadlines for this. There's no real like. There's nobody like. It's just well, we made a deadline.
Well, it's not even a job yet.
Yeah, it's not a job. Like I'm not.
Fan art.
It's fan art. uh, we did say like, oh well, I wanted to get the package together by tomorrow. I think, or no, wait, no, today's Monday, Wednesday.
Yeah.
That's what we said. So, which it ain't bad for like seeing a post and then that was only less than a week ago tomorrow, and then just busting into this and being like, okay, I'm gonna shoot my shot and see what just see if anybody likes it. Let's do it. Well, I'm doing these musical notes first because I'm going to jam through and do these speech balloons. But yeah, I don't want to say that I could. Well, go ahead, Alicia.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I'm glad that singing in comic strips is not as cringy as singing in television shows.
Ooh, yeah. Allie hates musicals.
That makes me sound like a bad person, but they make me feel icky inside, and I don't know why.
So we were watching the new Star Trek, and there's an episode where I can't explain what happened. They were near I don't even know how to explain it. Some kind of
There was
anomaly.
a rift in space that was like radiation, but the radiation made them sing about their emotions, which is also makes me feel very icky inside.
So the funny part about this story is I already knew that, if it's musical, she will not watch it. Like, I think I watched Hamilton by myself pretty much because she's like, I don't want that. I don't want that. And I'm like, Hamilton's awesome. Like, this is awesome.
I've gone to Broadway though, and that's fine, and I don't know why it's different.
Okay.
But
right.
Wicked was wonderful. The Lion King was wonderful. Les Mis was wonderful, although it was in French, so I think that made me feel less icky because there weren't as many feelings to feel. I think singing makes me feel feelings, and I don't.
Oh, you don't want to feel feelings.
I don't want to do it.
So the funny thing about this is I know that she doesn't like musicals. So we're looking at the thumbnails of the Star Trek show, and I could see the thumbnail, and I'm like, uh-oh, because like they're doing they're like going like this with like jazz hands. And I'm like, I think the next episode is a musical, and she's like, no, and it was funny, but it was done in such a way that they made fun of them. Like they were like the captain didn't really want musical either, so it was funny. He's like, why are we breaking into song? Like, it was weird. It was fun. And now that song's stuck in her head, I guess.
The melody was. It's gone now. Thank goodness.
I don't even remember. I block it out, like country music.
Magical wants to know if we will maybe do a monthly live stream after Promptober.
I would like to do more live streams in general. So I don't know what that looks like. I don't know if it's like it depends on if I'm drawing something, but yeah, we're going to do more live streams. It might be the new podcast. It might be, I've been thinking a little bit. I don't know if I talked about this with Allie or not, but the whole idea of the draw together that we were doing live in person, doing a version of that virtually where we open it up and allow more people, like the people from Art is Rad, to come in, and just whoever's solid that wants to be on the stream drawing along with us. Might have to switch to StreamYard to do that. I don't know.
I'm always very torn about being on the stream.
Why?
And I don't know, because I can't draw. But
you basically you came up with some of these ideas for this.
Yes,
script.
but this is not a writing and drawing collaboration brand. This is just a drawing brand.
You mean Draw or Die?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but you got to look at it this way. A lot of people, they have spouses that suck. No. A lot of artists are dealing with non-helpful partners. So in a lot of ways, I'm grateful.
We'll just make them feel really jealous because
it's probably gonna make them feel bad. Sorry, guys, I got it made. This is my second time around, so it's like, you get it right the second time around. So
second wives for the win.
Yeah, don't be afraid to leave your wife. No,
don't listen to that.
Don't listen to me.
Terrible advice.
Don't listen to my advice. But no, I think it's like you do give a reality to me sometimes. You guys don't hear it, but like I'll have some crazy idea and she really grounds me not in the way that's stopping me from doing anything. It's just sort of like an artist can kind of run off shiny object syndrome and get yourself in trouble. So I like that about Allie because she can kind of do that for you too. Like voice of reason behind you're a voice of reason of some kind. I call her an operator, but like she's an operator. Like if you give her a mission, she can get it done. And if I have a problem, I'm like, I really want to do this thing, but it's impossible. But how do I do this thing? And she'll figure out a way to make it sort of like even if I have to meet halfway, she'll help me figure it out, or she'll talk me out of it. You know, in a good way, right? No.
Yes, but it's hard to be that person. Like, cause like I don't want to talk you out of things that you want to do, and I don't want to be the negative voice. I don't want to be your cynical cat.
No. Okay.
But
Cool.
there are X amount of hours in a day, and a strip takes 3 hours. So when we start to down the path of a project, and then you're like, and I'm gonna release this daily, and I'm gonna launch it in 2 weeks. I'm like, okay, well, could you maybe get like 12 weeks in the can and then go, or like
Right.
you can't quit your day job right now, so.
No.
And you'll say, well, then I have 12 hours. I have 12 hours left, but you don't, because you have to eat, and you have to shower, and you have to sleep, and you have to, like,
right.
you don't have to go to the store or anything. Like, I'll
Yeah.
take care of all of that. You don't have to, like, do accounting or pay the bills. I got you there.
Yeah.
But just making a more realistic view of the available time.
Right.
And any commitments that you have is, I don't know, but it doesn't feel great to be the person that's trying to bring you down out of your vivid vision.
I don't feel that way. Look, Allie. See, you add a lot to the show.
I do.
Yeah. Otherwise, it might just be me here. You know, I'm probably just going to talk through like what I'm working on, or like swearing at myself occasionally. You know, um, if I can't get a line right. But I've been doing pretty good. I'm pretty proud of myself. These characters are fun to draw. So
I grabbed a bunch of books off your bookshelf
okay.
of comic strip people, artists, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And I wondered, like, who is your favorite comic strip? I think we talked about Outlands before, but is Berkeley Bridge your favorite? Or are like different people favorites for different reasons? Like, are they like multi-dimensional? As like certain people are good at certain things and certain people are good at other things?
So probably genre is probably like the daily comic strip that's jokes or slice of life sort of stuff. That would be Berkeley Breathe, Bloom County, Outland, which he was a contemporary, which of Calvin and Hobbes. Calvin and Hobbes was the more straight edge, imaginary stuff, which was cool. Calvin Hobbes was cool, but then Berkeley Breathe stuff was a little weird, like a little strange, just a little bit off. Like I think you were talking to me about that, right? Like you didn't really get the humor when we were kids.
I was always really disappointed because I would wait all week for the Sunday paper, and then my grandma would have the Sunday paper, and I would get the comics, and I got, I understood Far Side and I understood Garfield, and then I would try to read the ones at the top, and I feel like the top ones were more adult, or maybe it's because they were adventure, but I thought that they would be funny, and then I felt like maybe I didn't get the joke.
Mm-hmm.
But some of them, like there was one that was very realistic drawing.
Prince Valiant.
Okay, That sounds right. But
Yeah.
it wasn't funny. But was it not? It wasn't supposed to be funny, I guess.
No, it was supposed to be like an adventure comic.
I
Probably.
don't think that I knew that adventure comics existed. So
Right.
I just always was like, this is stupid. Like,
Yeah, like what's going on? This guy's riding a
yeah.
horse through a thing, and like the Phantom was like that too. I don't. I'm
No, the
surprised.
Phantom. That's the one. That's the
Okay.
one.
Yeah, the Phantom. Um, I'm surprised I don't have any Phantom collections, but I don't really care for it. But I kind of was like, there was a phase where I was like interested in Phantom, but it was kind of boring. But it was sometimes the art was really good. And Prince Valiant, oh, the names are going to escape me right now. The art in there was like really, really good. But adventure comic strip wise, I didn't appreciate that when I was a youngster at all. Like like you, I was like, I don't care. Like I liked Garfield and I liked Bloom County and what was the one with the dog and the cat? Mutts, maybe? Or I never liked Pearls Before Swine. I just don't like that. Plus, that guy used to steal my jokes from my webcomic. Steven Pastis.
Maybe he just tapped into a
No.
separate part of the idea stream.
Yeah, nope. Mine was the Brick of Silence, and he was the Towel of Silence, because that's what you could get away with in the newspapers. But mine was the Brick of Silence. Brick of Silence. Anyways, water under the bridge. Um, what else? Comic strip wise. But then as I got older and then the comic books, right? So like all of my favorite, I went down. I always do this with music too. Um, like I liked Pearl Jam. So then I would listen to Pearl Jam's interviews and they'd be like, we liked The Who. And I'm like, what's this? And then they'd be like, we like this. We like that. And that's how I found my musical taste from like 90s rock into, you know, hey, thanks for watching. May stop back again sometime. um, and I did the same thing with the comics. I like had to learn. You know, when you're a young, foolish kid. I don't even think I really appreciated Jack Kirby, which is like blasphemy to say now, but you know, I was the '90s comics guy. I was like into like Image Comics and Todd McFarlane and really flashy stuff. That's where I grew up into comics, and then the more I got into drawing comics and like liking certain people, I would hear those other names, right? I would hear um, Milton Caniff or Alex Toth or uh, you know, and I'm like, well, what's about this? Let's go see about that, and then I would go down that path and learn. And
So, like, were they all adventure comics then? Like, because, like, Garfield and Opus and Far Side, like, that all seems like 80s ish. Is
yeah, 70s, 80s, yeah. In the 20s, 30s. What's that book say on the Terry and the Pirates?
34.
34. Really, Terry and the Pirates was one of the first ones to come out that was like a very exciting narrative, like an adventure, like a movie in a strip that people would watch every day, and they'd be invested in the characters, um, and so that was like the big strip, and then along came like the Spirit. I don't know what time, I don't know what years the Spirit came out, but yeah, back in those days, Alex Raymond. I think you got that book over there. Alex Raymond had a bunch of strips, very very detailed artwork, like very realistic photorealistic illustrations, right? Like here, gonna hide my, I'm gonna hide me for a minute, hide myself,
No, you.
right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna hide myself real quick.
But again, this would be like a adventure or a drama or like
Uh,
they're not funny, right?
Rip Kirby, I think that was more like a detective story kind of thing. It's definitely a long narrative that would play out. So, and think about that. Back in the day, you were getting the daily comic in a newspaper, and like kids would have to cut it out to save it. There weren't collections, so they would like literally cut it out, or you just picked up on, like, hey, it's Wednesday. You're thrown into the middle of a storyline, and you just pick up on it like a soap opera or something. And then somewhere along the way, that those kind of strips kind of fell out.
I
But they
can't
used to
imagine. I can't imagine reading like that because like I had to get away from single issue comics and just wait till graphic novels would come out because I'm just too impatient.
right. Yeah, same. Same. I like to do the periodicals that like periodicals, geez. Monthly comics. Because you'd wait for that issue to come out. Weeks would kind of fly by, and then you'd be like, it's new comic book day. And it was before there was a catalog and all that. So you just go down to like 7-Eleven and see like what was on the rack. Was the new Wolverine there? Like that kind of thing. But then as comics progressed into the 90s and late and early 2000s, it's like you could have a million issues where nothing happened, and that did kind of suck. So, but I think as far as the art, like especially when you're drawing strips, you're trying to like look at the craft of it. Like, how did they do that? Like, how did they make the lighting work, or how did they make that composition work? So that's where you start to really appreciate Milton Caniff, Noel Sickles, Alex Raymond, Alex Toth, you know, um, Toth. I believe it's Toth. But this is Dinner Deer. And it's not really like it's one of those special cards or special NFTs that came out where you could, I guess, probably have dinner with Gary Vee, but it's still a deer. It's still an animal, so it's a rare. It's like a rare one of one or something. So I just decided because he says in that song, and the deer, and the you know technically it's a bison, but buffalo or bison. I don't know if you knew that, but buffalo are in Africa, and bison were what we traditionally call buffalo here. So it still works. But this is, and the deer and the antelope play is the original line of the song. But I just switched it to VeeFriends. But I'm like, oh, there is a deer. Because I was like hoping there would be an antelope, but there is not. Because if there was an antelope, there'd be an antelope here. So instead, we've got the bison, brave bison, and dinner deer having dinner. Maybe they're dating or something.
I don't think that they can like cross species.
They're friends.
They're not dating. They're friends.
Okay.
They're not dating. They're not.
Well, a dinner date can still be a date. I don't know. A friend date. They're Netflix and chill. Ew, is it weird that he wouldn't eat a steak? You have a nice salad. Let's put some tomatoes on there. We'll color that in. Leafy greens, right? Why is that weird to me? An animal shouldn't be having a steak. I don't know.
Deer eat meat.
Do they?
Yeah, they'll eat birds and rodents.
What?
Yep. I've seen some crazy, crazy reels.
Oh, jeez. I'm not putting that in my algorithm. The cat memes are enough for me. It knows. Magical says give him a steak. All right. Let's just put a big old steak on this plate. It'll be weird. I don't have an editor or anything like that, so someone will be like, stop it.
Because it's fan art.
It's fan art. That's right. So the bison's getting weird. He's like, yeah. Look at these psycho eyes. He's like, cannibal. I can't see what the stream. I can't see what the stream looks like. On my computer, it's very smooth, but when I looked at the replay, it seemed like the iPad screen was a little pixelated. I don't like that. So
it can't always be perfect.
you know, I think it might be this Talk Studio thing. Who knows? It's good enough. I could be here drawing this by myself. You know, it's nice to have some company.
Chicken Butt says the bison's showing dominance by eating his peers.
Oh.
What kind of bison is he? He's a
brave bison, I think. Better learn this. Just in case.
He is a brave bison.
So I thought, haha. He's got a weird beard. No. All right. I like buffaloes and bison a lot.
He has very, very slanty eyebrows.
Yeah. I don't want to make him look mean. You know?
I think he always has slanty eyebrows.
Okay. Weird.
It's like Bert.
Bert.
But not with the unibrow.
Right. They're kind of the same tail as the lion, a little bit. Like a poofy tail. Or maybe not. The lion has like more of a fire tail. If that makes sense. He's going to have a chunk of food on his fork. Why not? Yeah, like a hand. We'll just ad-lib it here.
Chicken Butt says they got snow today. We thankfully have not had snow yet. I hope we don't have snow for a while. Chicken Butt's in northern Canada, so that makes sense.
Sorry.
Maybe they like it. Maybe they like snow.
No. Some people, I mean, take it or leave it. I like the seasons changing, to be honest. I lived in California for a while and I didn't care for that. Most people would be like, oh, isn't it great? It's warm all the time. And I'm like, yeah, this is really great. Every day. And then when it finally does rain, you're jacked. Flooding. Did you see that there's like crazy lakes and stuff in Death Valley right now? With like flowers and stuff?
Chicken Butt has bison on their street.
Whoa. Are they friendly? No. I would not. I don't think I don't know what I'd just leave them alone.
They're at a farm. I think we have a bison farm near us. Actually.
We did somewhere out by your mom's house, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure they're all very brave. Right. What's the time are we at? Okay, 1:29. We're getting there. I'd like to finish the inks on this. It'd be nice. Again, the joke here is that his head is the shape of his hat. That's another Allie original there. She's like, wouldn't it be funny if his head was the shape under his hat? I'm like, yes, that's the joke. You've added to the, not officially, but in fan art. This is
This is fan. I'm writing VeeFriends fan fiction.
Friends fan fiction. Yeah. Now imagine though that that becomes canon, and 20 years from now, you could be like, I'm the person. I'm the one that gave him the cone head. Oh, it's here we are. We've documented it. Stream will prove it. You know, we'll hide this stream away so that when some nerd somewhere is like, I'm the one that came up with the cone head idea, we'll be like, timestamp, bro. I almost thought like this song, he's singing Home on the Range, right? He doesn't say it here, but that's the name of this song that he's singing. And I'm like, I wonder like what they call the VeeFriends world. If it's another dimension, maybe it's called the range. Like you got to get in that range or that zone to be able to go there. If that makes sense. All right. Where am I
I
now?
know that there's a volcanic island where you can like sacrifice them into a volcano.
Yeah, there is Burn Island. Don't know how we'll cover that. Would the characters be like, don't what? I'm going to Burn Island to sacrifice myself. What?
I know when we did it, it wasn't a character.
No, it's like the Snoop Dogg thing.
Yeah.
And it did do like a little animation and stuff, but something happened. You know. Feels like this is like we're living in a weird like not a weird world, but like everything's very like the sky's the limit. Like no one's figured it out yet. There's a couple people that are like innovating with things in general, digital collectibles. I've seen a couple others out there that we saw at VCon, right? I won't mention their names in this stream. Just saw them at Walmart though.
Oh,
What's it called?
Pudgy Penguins.
Yeah, Pudgy Penguins.
That guy was kind of hostile on that panel.
Yeah. I mean,
but there is like a lot to the NFT Web3 space that
yeah,
seems a little controversial.
Maybe we didn't understand.
Well, I think when we left and I read more about it, I think it's because there's so many naysayers that are like, it's a JPEG, bro. Like, that would get to you. Like, that would get to you eventually. So I think he was just very adamant because he believes, he believes very strongly in his project and what he's doing. And that came across as anger, which was...
Yeah, and I thought it was directed at VeeFriends, which was weird because he's at the VCon, and I thought it was like a because he was basically saying like, I'm going to be the best ever, the most popular thing that's ever been made, and I was like, well, you're at VCon. I don't understand what's happening right now.
But I felt more like he was speaking to people that don't believe in him somehow. Like there's some hurt there. Like he was speaking to some, like,
okay,
I'll show you kind of.
Right. I don't think anybody else was fazed by it. They were just kind of like, okay, dude, cool. Because I don't think that they had the VeeFriends toys at that time. They didn't have the vinyl figures and stuff at that show. They had the plushies.
No, there were vinyl figures.
There were vinyl figures at that show?
Yep, because Ben's had them in the office since I got hired. So
yeah,
I think that the vinyls were before the plush, but I might be wrong.
Okay.
And then they just did a Squishmallows collab.
Oh yeah,
they're doing a Crocs Gibbets collab.
I saw the Skeletor collab. That's cool.
Yeah, this Mattel one and the new the pin collection, I think. But they've had pins, but I think it's the Halloween pins that they just put out.
Right. If you really think about it, it's kind of smart. Like when I didn't think about it, like I'm curious to see like what goes on behind the scenes or hear more about that in the future. Like I think I something clicked when I saw the Skeletor thing because I was like, aha. So each one of these characters can collab with something else that's out there. I think. Does that make sense? Like this cowboy could probably collab with something. Like I don't know what.
I think it'll probably be, if I had to speculate, like when it's a natural fit, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's a shame there's no Toys R Us anymore.
Well, I've been told that there is a Toys R Us, but it's in like side of Macy's or something.
Oh, they probably just licensed the name.
It's like a kiosk or something.
That's sad.
Right. So this idea with this panel is that like the sky melts into nighttime. Like when it just decides like it doesn't like slowly go down, it's just like and
Oh,
then
I
it's like
thought those were mountains. I thought those were like the weird rock formation things.
oh,
It'll
it
make
could
sense
be.
when they're colored.
It's like a painted sky. Like the night sky just like melts into the I can't show the animation. It would take like 2 million years to do that. So um
Night Magical.
hey night. Thanks for tuning in.
Looking forward to seeing your day 11. Throw it in the Discord so I can find it if you're on there.
Yeah, I'll do these strips and we got the rest of the month for we have the streams on Sunday for the Promptober stuff. We have a stream Wednesday night to talk about the prize form. Um, maybe I might have a surprise, an extra prize giveaway. We're talking about this as Magical's leaving. Sorry, bro. Like, um, still having some conversations with people that are like, maybe they'll be in on it with like a nice prize, like a few $100 worth prize. It's pretty nice.
If you're here and you don't know what we're talking about, every October we do Promptober. I know that's backwards, but close enough. Where if you draw the prompt of the day, at the end, everyone that submits an entry form will be entered to win some prizes from some awesome sponsors like Field Notes, Maker's Cabinet, JL Lawson, Dango Products. We gave away a cool sketchbook from Artist Rad on Saturday.
Yeah.
Blackwing Pencil. I don't think I missed anyone.
I don't think so.
But that's been super fun. We're winding down. I think 8 more days of prompts to go. But if you're behind, no sweat. Just draw what you can. And every drawing will allow you to claim an entry when the form goes live on the 25th. And that form will be up from the 25th until 5 a.m. on November 4th.
Yeah. Got some fun stuff. More field notes to give away. All kinds of fun stuff. They're all brands that I use, really.
Yeah. I mean, we really only do things with brands that we use and we love. It doesn't make sense. Like sometimes somebody will message with like a makeup brand or a watch brand or
Timu.
Timu.
Timu. Timu.
I think it's like an I.
Mm. They were incessantly emailing me saying like, join our influencer program, and I'm like, I don't know. I tried to join it and it didn't work, and then they were like, join our influencer program. Like this isn't a real person. Like this
Well,
is
they
not.
only give you stuff. They don't give you money, and like we're trying to have less stuff.
Yeah, I want less stuff.
And a video is worth, it's a significant amount of time to make a YouTube video for products, and then it's your reputation if things show up and they're janky.
I decided to give him his. He's like untucked, He's not naked. He's not. Don't get there. It's like he's got long johns on. We're gonna figure that out. No, it looks like he has freckles on his legs. Never mind. Mhm.
You had to draw cuffs by his feet.
Well, it's like a long johns. They're like they're all over.
No, long johns don't cover your feet.
The ones I'm thinking of do. Thermal pants? No.
You're thinking like a onesie for a baby.
He's wearing a onesie. All right, there. He doesn't look like he's naked now. It's great. Nobody wants a naked cowboy in their comic strip. All right, great. He's getting ready for bed. That's what this guy's doing. That's what we'll be doing pretty soon. Off to the races. What?
Here it tells us onesie with the back flap.
Yeah. for pooping.
That's a missed opportunity. We'll have to show him from the back at some point.
Yeah.
In the fan art.
In the fan art. That's what this is. Don't sue us, VeeFriends. Don't sue me. Just adding to the. Doubt it. I doubt that would happen.
Usually you get a cease and desist before you get sued.
Gary just shows up at your door and knocks, and he's like, "Hey, you guys doing?"
There were some yard sales down the street.
There were some yard sales down the street. It's like, I was in the neighborhood.
Chicken Butt wants to know when these are due.
When are these due? We set a goal to have the strips done by Wednesday, which, now that I'm coloring them and all that, it's probably going to be more towards the end of the week, like end of Friday, because I still got to do work.
See, I don't think you need to color them all. Like, I think you get the point.
Yeah, in an ideal world, the dailies would be black and white.
I mean, like, if you were doing this for a job, you would obviously finish them, but...
Right. Because I literally do have to do another job. So, got to go to work tomorrow. I'll drive to Pittsburgh tomorrow and do a whole other thing. But yeah, there's no real deadline. It's it's pretty.
I would say hypothetically, if you saw somebody was doing something or a company that you wanted to work with,
mm-hmm.
and you wanted to try to get a job that really no one was offering you, like, what do you think is what do you think is like the ideal time if someone was watching and was like, hey, I'd really like to work for insert X company here that floated a cool idea on socials? What's the reasonable amount of time to try to submit something?
In an ideal world with a regular type of company, probably a couple weeks. With this type of company, moves fast. I think moves faster than the average bear, if that makes sense. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. No. So I think not going the extra mile, that's probably the wrong. You might as well just give it your all, right? If you see something out there that, Barry said 2 weeks is probably good. And how many? No one said how many, but I think in this case it was just asking for a Sunday strip. So I've done the equivalent of probably 3 Sunday strips right now, I think, in less than a week. That looks pretty good. I'm zoomed out now and I'm looking at it on the screen. Pretty good cartooning, guy. Good job, me. Yeah. Good job, partner. For newspapers, stuff, or trying to get I don't even know. I would not tell anybody to try to get into newspaper comics now. Like, just don't do it. You're better off launching a web comic. And
Well, there was a short time where it looked like comics might be viable in like the small local alt newspapers, and there's probably space for that in lots of cities.
that's true. I mean, but even then, I mean, I don't want to trash anybody on that side, but it's like, did people really get paid?
Well, it depends on which one you're with. So I think for a while when you were doing some work for a more upstarty kind of alt press,
Yeah.
that was a little more unpredictable.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the established one
Yeah.
was pretty good. But then there's some politics there that were
Right.
difficult.
Right.
But drawing those covers, you enjoyed that. And
I
I
drew
think
the covers. Yeah, the covers were nice to draw. Um, most of the time it's like, I don't know. Yeah, I think the way to go with a strip right now, a 4 panel, let's call it a 4 panel comic strip, because I got a comment, I got a video on my site too that says 4 panel storytelling, because it's a little bit shorter for you to do, because if you're doing a Monday, Wednesday, Friday or something like that, or even a weekly, you're not going to kill yourself doing it, and you'll be able to test the audience to see if, like, do people really care, or how are you marketing it. Those are all big conversations to have, I guess.
yeah, Barry, if it's the publication that I think it is, we never got paid either. So
Yeah, that's
but
not a thing. Yeah, but
Hero Hotel wondered, how could you make a living from webcomics, or is that a fantasy?
okay. Um, I made a living for webcomics for a little while. Because I'd make about, so back in the day when I did your mama stuff, I made about anywhere between $4,000 to $6,000 a month. So, and that was back in the early 2000s. So, depending on where you live in the world, and I live in southwestern Pennsylvania, you could live off of that, pretty decent. It's cheap, but it's like, you're a cartoonist. What else you got to do? But how would you make a living at it now? You have to build true fans. And you can only build true fans by showing up and build one fan at a time. And it's tough, but and the definition of a true fan is somebody that will buy probably like $100 worth of your stuff per year, something like that. So that means it could be like a little mix of, oh, they're part of your Patreon, or they've bought a T-shirt, or they bought a book collection, or they've just donated something. We obviously have some true fans for the Draw or Die Club. Was not a comic, but like, we know who our true fans are. We've had some people um, to just donate money to us out of the blue, so we know that they're true fans. Is the true fans thing still a thing? If you have 1,000 people really supporting you, that you're good. Yes, if that's the definition of a true fan, is you're trying to get that, what's it called, Alicia? A lifetime value. Like, what's your lifetime value, or LTV? It's business. We're getting into business stuff now, but the lifetime value of a true fan is about $100 a year. So if you have 1,000 people giving you $100 a year, right? That's $100,000.
I think from what you told me about when you were making a living off of webcomics, the main revenue stream was Google AdWords.
Yes, it was advertising back then, and it was also sponsorship. I had $2,000 in sponsorship ads for Warcraft Gold, where you could buy a service to get Warcraft Gold, and they bought the banners on the top of my website.
And
But
then
the
you
only
had You had a
Yeah.
pharmaceutical one too. That was really
No, I didn't have a
no.
farm. No, that was the one that like hacked a bunch of web comics. The Russian pharmaceutical. But the only reason you could sell those sponsorship spots is if you had readership for your comic. So I had readership numbers that I could show. That was why they were buying that spot, because they knew a lot of people were, yada yada, buying that thing. So, in a way, I actually feel like, and nobody's done this yet, but launching a YouTube channel for your comic, documenting the whole process as much as you can. I know that there's a limit, because we were just talking about this for Barry, where you have to have 50 subscribers before you can go live on YouTube. But think about this: if you launched a shorts channel where it was there's an art to shorts too, because you can get a lot of subscribers from shorts. So if you were almost kind of narrating your stories or something, when you look at like even the drawings for my channel here, I did a couple little sketches where it's just no talking, it's some music and it's some sketching for the Promptober stuff. And I think it got like 2,000 views on a short, and it got like 5 subscribers right there. On just random people found me through the shorts feed.
I was thinking about Barry not being able to go live, and I wonder, and I couldn't test it because you have over 50 subs, but could you schedule the video as a premiere, do a quick Facebook Live, kind of leading into it, push people to the YouTube, and then so if you set your video as a premiere, you can live comment just as you're doing now on this live stream, but you can live comment along with the people that are watching the video. So you could, pose questions in your video, and then, if it's the first watch through, you could be answering those in the chat, or you could be asking those questions in the chat, because I think the interaction piece of it is important. So that might be a workaround that you could do.
Yeah. Yeah, you might be surprised too. I don't think anybody's doing it, which is interesting.
Looks like Chicken Butt has a non-compete kind of thing going on, where they can't use their work skills outside of work. But they think that comics could be okay. I think just asking, being upfront, I don't know what your managerial relationship is, but I think just saying like, hey, this is a thing I want to do.
Yeah.
Getting clearance up front's probably the move.
Or just go under a complete pseudonym. Just a fake name.
And you can't show your face. You can't really make connections without your face.
Right. You could make an AI version of yourself, and
that's a thing.
It is. Look, I'm hiding the cat. The very, very lucky black cat.
Very Felix of you.
I know, right? Very Todd McFarlane of me. He used to hide Felix in all of his Spider-Man covers and issues. Oops, nope. Come on, just drop it in there. There we go. Get in there. There we go. Very small. Look at that. We're on this last panel already, and we're at about 1:53. We're almost done. Inking 2 strips tonight in 2 hours. Not bad. Not bad at all. Yeah, Barry, we'll have to talk more about some of the, I don't know, I wouldn't call them strategies of how a comic artist might. The trick, I'll say again, is, you can't let your audience just be nothing but people that you already knew that are comic artists or in the comic book space, because I don't want to say it's cannibalistic, but it's like it's not real. I don't want to say it's not real readers. I don't know what I'm saying. It's just that you want to get people that just want to read the comics and want to learn your backstory and like want to learn. Like if I was a fan of Garfield, um, and Jim Davis had a live stream, yes, I wanted to be a cartoonist, but I liked Garfield so much when I was a kid, I might be like, oh, I want to watch the guy draw that, or I want to hear his backstories, or I want to watch him coming up with the stuff live. That would be interesting to some fans, some true fans, true fans. That's who you want to build.
Paul wonders what you think about crowdfunding or Patreon.
Patreon's, yeah, you could do that. It's tough because it's the same problem. You want your subscribers to be people that just want the comic, not people that want to draw comics. If that makes sense. And I can think back to Secret Forces comic Patreon that I had, and there was probably 50-50. 50-50 were creators versus real readers, I'd say. Not, I hate to say real readers, but you know what I'm saying. If that makes sense.
I think crowdfunding is tricky. And I think it's easier if your project is self-contained and you're only relying on yourself and you know that you'll have great follow through to come through and deliver what you promise. I think there's a hesitancy in me because what I've seen is creators think, I have the best idea. I'm going to launch Patreon. I just watched a guy raise 50K. I'm going to raise 50K.
Right.
And then you fund at just your minimum funding threshold, which kind of sucks some of the excitement out of it. And then the motivation to fulfill that project isn't there.
Right.
And there's a big chance that you could let people down. And we've seen that happen on
over and over again.
Quite a few projects where, there's just endless comments of like, where is this? It's been a year. It's been 2 years. It's been 4 years. Like, where is it? And we've known people that had collaborators that, maybe their collaborator had a life event or something and just wasn't able to fulfill that. And then one person kind of gets stuck doing the lion's share of it, or it just doesn't happen at all. So there's some reputation management stuff that you have to be cognizant of if you're going to make promises in a crowdfunding situation. But for us, so there's a game that we'd like to launch, but our internal rule for our little company is we would only do crowdfunding if we knew it's already done. And run it more like a pre-order.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's what I would suggest to people is like to get your book done first for Kickstarters, things like that. And but for an ongoing comic, I don't know. I'm either a glutton for punishment or I just still have a lot of faith that there's a market for this stuff. And right now, there's not a whole lot of action. There used to be a lot more webcomics.
There's some recent people. I mean, there's the Heart versus Brain, an Awkward Yeti. You met that creator.
Yeah, but I mean, yes.
The Oatmeal is still active. That's a web comic that's current.
But there used to be a lot. There used to be a lot of webcomics. Like Keen Spot used to be popping off. There's still Keen Spot, don't get me wrong. But like there used to be hundreds of people that were a community of cartoonists really engaging on forums and it just kind of it's a lot of work. So it just died out. It just kind of died out, I think.
But do people need forums when they have X and they have Instagram and they have Discord. I mean, maybe it's just that you're not where they are.
But there used to be a lot of, I mean, that's how I know a lot of these people still to this day, like Brandon Carr and like, we met on forums and things like that. And there's nothing like that right now.
I would bet there is. I would bet there is, but they're like 16 to 25 and they're in a pocket that you just don't know about.
Oh yeah. I mean, there's probably a Discord somewhere that's like some local groups. There's definitely local drawing groups or local mini comic groups and things that you'll never hear of. That's what I'm talking about though. Online it felt like there were these collectives that would pop up all over the early 2000s. So we had pvcomics.com. There was quite a few others. Boxcar Comics, like it was neat. There was like this energy for creating comics that's kind of like it's kind of just petered out over the. Okay, so you know what? I inked since I'm going to probably color these, but I'll leave this alone. Otherwise, I put some black up in here. I fill that in with black. A little bit in the sky. But so here we go. Blasting cat off into space. I'm going to scan through this real quick. You don't know why? Not really. Hold still. Cynical cat is go for lunch. I thought you guys said lunch. Nope. To the moon. And then we got the Cowboys singing the Home on the Range song. The sky is melting nighttime. He's taking off his boots, and then it turns out the joke is his head is a cone head. It's very, very cute. Yeah, Drunk Duck, Barry said. We were just talking about Drunk Duck a little bit earlier in the stream when had to hear by night stuff on there. It was very, very fun. Still around. Drunk Duck's still there. Drunk Duck's still there, I guess. All right, guys. Well, that's 2 hours and 1 minute. Exactly. Took me 2 hours to ink 2 strips. Pretty good. They look pretty decent. What do you think, Alicia?
They're pretty awesome. I had to make more ideas for you.
Yeah. Thanks. Cool. Awesome. All right. Well, I haven't scheduled another drawing stream this week, but if you want to see us on the Sunday stream, we'll be back on Wednesday for the rules, going over the rules. And then what else? Well, what's this? A lot of enthusiasm has been a victim of consolidation from social media. So few artists have their own website, Facebook groups. That's true. Another topic I got on my list is like, should artists have their own websites again? Because I think yes, but especially I think there's going to be a backlash about what's going on right now at Meta and Instagram, because I'm seeing so many artists that are having the same problems where they're simply commenting on someone's post and they're getting like shadow or they're getting banned. They're getting that notification. So I think a lot of artists are just going to be like, to hell with this, man. Here, find me over on my website or find me over on my own Discord or something like that. If you want to know me, or get hang out with us. So, but cool. Awesome. That is hide this real quick. We'll go big. Thanks for hanging out. And there's no outro music or anything like that. We're just going to end this stream.
Nope. See you tomorrow, or wait, Wednesday. We'll see
you Wednesday. Listen to Barry. Always keep your own site. Never completely build on someone else's land. Always keep it to yourself too. All right. Good night, guys. We'll see you soon. Bye.